So the Gemara asks the following question. The Gemara says in Shabbos Kufiyat Zayin Amud Beis, the bottom of the daf, the Gemara says like this. 2 dots. Tanu Rabbanon, Kama Seudah Chayiv Odom Le'echol B'Shabbos. How many Seudas does a person have to eat in Shabbos Kodesh? And for the Gemara, answers the Gemara, Shalosh. Okay, there's another sheet, Rabbi Chid goes 4. But according to the Gemara, says that a person has to eat 3 Seudas on Shabbos. We're going to hear an amazing question on this Gemara in a moment. Where does this come from? A person has to have 3 Seudas on Shabbos. So the Gemara brings a pasuk, Vayomer Moshe achlu hayom ki Shabbos hayom l'Hashem hayom. Kitzur says 3 times hayom in the pasuk. See from there, according to the main pshat in the Gemara, as I pass in the Shulchan Aruch and Beit Tzadi Aleph, that you have to eat 3 Seudas on Shabbos Kodesh. Okay? Now, by the way, you know there are certain mitzvahs that are like a shortcut to greatness. There are certain, it's like almost like this. There are certain business deals. Chaim, listen carefully. There are certain business deals that require a very small amount of investment. You don't have to do that much. But you get back the dividends, you get back the profit. Unbelievable. Right? Somebody came to my house last night and he was telling me about a certain business, which I'm not going to mention, which the Olam know what I'm talking about, which has caused a lot of people tsar and pain, and it's not easy, and you're pressuring people, whatever it is. But I might say you make a lot of money on this thing. And his shaila was, is he allowed to do it? Whatever, went to the different stodim. But it's a very interesting thing that it requires very little work, but the dividends is unbelievable. We have over here a mitzvah that every single one of us should and can be Mekayim. Every single Shabbos Kodesh, listen to the reward. Chazal tell us, it's a Gemara, Rabbi. It's a Gemara which is brought down la halacha la maisa. Okay, Mishabur, the Heilige Chofetz Chaim brings it la halacha, which means we paskin like the Gemara, the Kula Yalma, that if a person eats 3 Seudas on Shabbos Kodesh, right, and he's Mekayim, the Seudah Shlishis Shlishis, he is going to be Yotza, and he's going to be receiving 3 things. Saved, number 1, Melchemes Gog Magog, whatever that means, of the 11th second war that it could be right before Mashiach comes, without divulging too many details, that the Melchemes Gog Magog, you will be saved if you have Shalashitas. Number 2, the Dina Shel Gehenim. I'm not speaking for the Olam, but there are people out there that don't want to have the result of Gehenna for what they may have done in this world over here. So you want a quick and easy shortcut to get rid of the Dina Shel Gehenim. Boom, Shalashitas. And the third one is the Chavle Shel Mashiach, right? Those pangs, whatever they are, the hardships of Mashiach, when Mashiach comes, when he arrives. Again, how do we explain exactly what these things are and how they mean to us? I don't know. But one thing I can tell you, these are 3 things that all of us, every single one of us, I believe, want to be saved from. And all you have to do is eat Shalashitas. It's like an easy thing. It's like a small little investment, and boom, look at the dividends that you get. It's the most unbelievable thing. By the way, there are Rishonim that held that Shalashitas itself is a Doraisa. We're not dealing with the Durabonon, we're dealing with the Doraisa. There's always the Psak and the Yereim. The Yereim brings this down, the Maisa. The Machzevitri also, the Charedim. And the Levush also, as an Achon, brings down in Beit Tzadi Aleph. It's a Shaila of a Doraisa. We paskin, like the Maril, the Kirat Sefer, the Moshe Yontiv, the Shabbos, the Rabbi Pimigod, the Bekiyavas, and Be'alacha, the Heilige Chofetz Chaim, that it is a Durabonon, but it's a Durabonon that's very, very important. I want to read to you a very interesting Loshen of the Ben Ish Chai. Few things, by the way, also. There's a sefer called Imri Yisrael. He brings down the following idea. He says like this, that people sometimes, how do we know that a person is really doing something to cover Shabbos Kodesh? And that's one of the answers to the following question. The Shulchan Aruch says an interesting lashon in Hilchos Shalashidas and Simon Reish Tzadi Aleph in Orach Chaim, where he talks about Shalashidas. You know what he says? He says, Yoizoi ma'oid l'kaim Seudah Shlishis. Ma'oid. Now, we very rarely find the word ma'oid. We find it in Achanami, in Hilchos Ribbis. In Achanami, we find it also in Hilchos Arayis and Even Ezer. We find it a few places, but it's very stark. When the Shulchan Aruch says be very careful, it means people are not careful, and we have to be careful. Shulchan Aruch says clearly, have to be very careful. What's pshat? And that's why I want to mention it now. It's the winter. Shabbos is short, unfortunately. Shabbos goes out early, unfortunately, it's a chaval. And sometimes people are a little bit, Seudah Shlishis, I just finished my meal, or I don't want to eat, or whatever it is. Seudah Shlishis is a moyudik azach. Rabbi said that I think it's worth us spending just a few moments of our time so we know what it is, how chashuv it is, so that we can understand to be saved from the three things that Chazal tell us clearly that we will be saved from. And the question is why? Have we zoyeh b'Seudah Shlishis? It doesn't say zoyeh by eating Friday night. For some reason that nobody has a problem, with the Seudah sitting down, everybody's hungry about that time. So what's pshat? Zog this sefer. He says very simple, because Friday night everyone's happy, they're hungry. Normally it's around the time of eating dinner. Shabbos day is also the time people are eating a dinner. Normally people are eating lunch at that time during the week, right? Around that time, give or take here and there. Or Seudah Shlishis, especially during the winter, right, could be literally 10 minutes, an hour or two, or much earlier than you ever eat, and no shaykhs in the middle of meals. What's going to be? Zog there, that when a person eats Seudah Shlishis, he's megala on the other two Seudas, that the other two Seudas were covered Shabbos. In fact, I want to read your Lashon the Ben Ish Chai. Unbelievable Lashon of the Ben Ish Chai. Listen to this, it's amazing. He asks a kasha the Gemara. The Gemara asks the kasha, how many Seudas does a person have to eat on Shabbos? Answers the Gemara, 3. Says the Ben Ish Chai, I don't understand. Why did the Gemara have to ask a kasha? Why couldn't the Gemara just say, Tana Rabbanon, Chayiv Odom le'echol gimel Seudas l'chol Shabbos? Why couldn't you just say that? And for the Ben Ish Chai in a moedik azach, he says like this. He says that I would have thought that each Seudah on Shabbos is a separate mitzvah. You get a mitzvah of eating a Seudah Shabbos Friday night. You get a mitzvah of eating a Seudah on Shabbos day. And you also get a mitzvah of Seudah Shlishis if you eat it. Zog the Ben Ish Chai, absolutely not. Kama Seudas, a person is chayiv to eat all 3. Mimela, if you're not by Kayim Seudah Shlishis, Zog the Ben Ish Chai, you never got schar for the other 2 either. That means if you want to be yait to the mitzvah of Seudah Shabbos, you have to eat all 3 to Makayim the mitzvah. As is the Psak Lemaisa from the Heilige Ben Ish Chai, that's what he says. Now the Shulchan Aruch does bring, which is Nageya, right? We heard this just this Shabbos. I just finished my meal. What do you want from me? Right? So I guess it really depends. If you offered the guy some steakhouse meal somewhere else, Mistoma, he'd find the space for that. Right? Mistoma, he would. But Shulchan Aruch does say that if a person's in tsar, and for him to eat more, it's even a shayim, Shabur says, of achila gasa, he's stuffing down something. He's probably going to be mazik himself. He's going to throw up. His mom is going to be gefelach, stomach problems. Then avada. It was la'onig nitna v'lo litzar, as Lashon Mishnah Berurah, which means it was given for onig Shabbos, to enjoy, to geschmack. Right? It wasn't given for tzar. So if you're putting yourself in tzar, then avada, you shouldn't do that. And therefore you're not chayiv. Oba, chacham einov b'roshei. That means a wise person, literally art scroll, has eyes in his head. Which means that if you know that you're going to be eating a Seudah and Seudah Shlishis is coming up soon, don't eat so much. By the way, the Yisod V'Shorish V'Avodah Sharches brings down that even by Seudah Shlishis, a person shouldn't eat so much. Maybe this is more again in the summer, because we'll have malka. A person has to be careful. You have to know. Rabbi said you have to live not just in the present, you also have to know what's going to be in the future. Mimela, there is a shita. Rabbi said, so Mela, if a person's mum is completely gefellach full and he eats one more drop, oy gewalt, I hear. But if a person, all he has to do, which we're going to see, is eat a kibetza of pas, which sounds like it's more chomer than Friday night, because Friday night you have to eat kazayas. Here you have to eat kibetza. So it sounds like Seudah Shlishis is more chomo than Friday night. Okay, that's already not for now. Al Kaponim, you have to eat a kibetza pas. What's a kibetza pas? It's not so much. Right? You're telling me that you're going to mitzar yourself by having a kibetza pas. I don't know if that's the case. And again, according to Ben Ish Chai, if you want to be yotze the other 2 Seudas, then I think it's definitely kedai for a person to do that. So, Lamaisa, how much does a person have to eat? So the Ramban, the Ran, the Rosh, the Levush, the Birkei Yosef, which is again paskin clearly in Shulchan Aruch, that a person has to eat just a little bit more than a kibetza in order to be yotza. In that case, if a person had a kazayas, b'di eved, if he wants to be a b'di eved Jew, then avada b'di eved, he can have a kazayas, as well as the psak lemaisa, the Shulchan Aruch Harav. and the Aruch HaShulchan in that time. Also, the Zman of the Seudah of Seudah Shlishis Dafka is from the Zman of Mincha, which is 6.5 halachic hours into the day, which is the Psak of the Rambam, the Rosh, the Maggid Mishnah, Rabbi Yerucham, the Torah Shulchan Aruch, the Vush Chayotim, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, and others, that you have to have it. If you have it before Chatzos, you're not Yaitza. By the way, this could be very Negeya. Why is this Negeya? Let's say, for example, Aaron Dov, a person died Kiddush on Shabbos morning. Kiddush on Shabbos morning, he washes. He wants to wash on Shabbos morning, so that by the Shabbos day Seder, he's going to wash again, and that will be his Seudah Shlishis. Now, first of all, it's before Mincha, which is not so poshut, right? For sure, our Pikabbola and the Arizal and everyone else should be after Mincha. But even if not the case, if he washed before Chatzos, which could be very Negeya, Shabbos day, he's eating the Seder before Chatzos, and that's his Seudah Shlishis because he washed already by Kiddush after davening, so then that's a problem. He's washing before Chatzos. The poskim say that if you start before Chatzos, but you're mamshech, you keep the Seudah going till after Chatzos, there is what to talk about. But if a person wants to be Yotze the mitzvah in the most achatchela way, it's after davening Mincha, which is obviously after the Zman of Mincha, after 6.5 hours in the case over there. Therefore, you would be Yotze over there. What does a person have to eat in order to be Yotze? This Gavaldige mitzvah and get the Gavaldige Shmira. So the Rif, the Rosh, the Rambam, the Torah, the Shulchan Aruch, and the Mishnah Berurah says clearly one word, 2 letters, very simple, pas. That means bread, right? A person has to wash and eat bread, which is also the Tosfos and the Yereim and the Maril and Paskin and Aruch HaShulchan, that a person has to eat bread to be Yotze lechatchila. Why? State in the Pasuk Hayom. Hayom Dafka is referring to Seudah, pas, whatever, Seder. Says the Aruch HaShulchan, you mamish need bread, chalila lahakal, so the lashon of the Aruch HaShulchan, except if you're a choila, if a person is mamish sick and he can't eat bread, then I hear. Or Aruch HaShulchan, a person doesn't makayim the mitzvah with bread, Hashem yirachim. Listen to the lashon of the Aruch HaShulchan. He says, v'hamezalzelim b'Seudah Shlishis, if a person is mezalzel in Seudah Shlishis, v'yotze b'loi pas, and he's yotze the mitzvah without eating pas, osid liteines hadin. He's going to have to give judgment for what he did. That's the lashon of the Heilige Aruch HaShulchan. A person has to be very, very careful in this case to try and eat pas in that case. Avad and avada, there's many shitas that hold that if you can't eat bread, then avada you can have mazonis, pasabah bekisnin. There are those that you can have even fruits. There are those that you can have zayminim. There's even a Mogen Avraham and Simon Tov Mem Daled that brings the cotton brace from the Heilige Zoya Kodesh, and he brings also, he brings the shlob b'shem the Zoya that's from the Rashbi. That B'shem Barichai will be oisik in Torah at this man of Seudah Shlishis, or Be'lemaisa Zuk the Mogen Avraham lo isi noigin kain, and if other people are not noig in that case, the Shlag Kodesh brings Sefer Charedim that a person should eat fleishiks and he should eat meat, but the Mishnah Berurah doesn't bring it. But that's the general idea when it comes to these things. The Torah brings a Rambam that says that Seudah Shlishis requires Kiddush. Says the Beis Yosef, and he explains Pshat in the Rambam, doesn't mean that it needs Kiddush like the Friday night Seudah and the Shabbos day Seudah, that you have to make Kiddush before eating. Rather, Kiddush should be made on a cup of wine during the Seudah. And as Shulchan Aruch Lemaisa paskins that you do not require wine for Seudah Shlishis, but the Mishnah Berurah does bring down toiv lahader. It's good to be mahader. You should know it's not a me'ikadin, it's a hidur, but it's toiv, says the Chavetz Chaim, to be mahader and make a bracha on wine to be yotze shitas harambam, which Rav Shlomo Zalman says I don't even have to drink so much wine. I can have ktsas. There's no mole lugma, roiv kois, or anything similar like that. And also Rav Shlomo Zalman says one person can make it and everyone should be yotze. So it could be we should start as our minig here in yeshiva to taka do this to be yotze the shita of the Mishnah Berurah. I'm talking about Seudah Shlishis. Yeah, that's something else. Now, Rabbi Say, just again, remember, Seudah Shlishis, especially when you're not interested and you're not so hungry, and I don't even want to eat this. But at the end of the day, you're showing that you are attached to the Rabbeinu Shalom, to Shabbos Kodesh, Koved Shabbos, Oynik Shabbos, that you're doing something for the Rabbeinu Shalom, going to Bedesh Chayim Magala, that all of the other Seudas are the Tzorich Mitzvah, and we should be Zeicha to know these halachas and to keep these halachas. Have a wonderful day.